Right. So let's say you have this favorite quote that you want to share online, or a testimonial from a client that, instead of using it as a caption for a random photo you have on your gallery, you can actually use those quotes to create an actual social media post. So, of course, you want this post to be on brand. And so, besides from using your brand colors, you can use your brand fonts. Now, if you're not sure what the font you use for your brand, one thing I can share with you is a Chrome extension called Font Ninja. So if you type in Font Ninja in Google, it's also in Safari, I think. So it's a Chrome extension wherein if you install it, it'll appear here on top of your menu. And if it doesn't show, then you can just go to the puzzle piece icon and pin it so that it's just up here. So this Chrome extension would help you to kind of get the fonts from your website. So usually the font we use on our website is what we consider our brand font. And so if we can know of, or if we find out what the font is that we use on our website, then that's most likely our brand font. It just helps you, be more consistent across all of the platforms. And so to find out what font this is particularly, we can use Font Ninja. So if you click on the icon while you're on the page, it'll show you the fonts that are existing on the current page it's on. So for example, if you just hover over your title, like a title or like a heading on the page, it'll show you what font this is and even the size and color. Now, what you want to do is to take note of that so that you can use it in Canva. Usually, if it says here install, that means it's probably a free font and it's probably a Google font as well. That's why you're able to, install it. And most likely it'll appear on like the list of fonts in Canva as well. So for example, this one's Source Sans Pro, so we need to take note of that. And then we have Arial for the body text. So now we have Source Sans Pro and Arial. So when you go to Canva, what you can do is to, click on the font and change it. I've already changed this one. But yeah, you can type in Source Pro, Source Sans Pro. And you can choose that to be the font for this one. Now, for example, this is the name of the person who said the quote. Maybe we can use the body text for it, which was Arial. So we can look for that one, search it. As you can see, it's not here. Now, the trouble with like fonts that doesn't appear on Canva, what you can do is, find a very similar one or, buy a copy of the font and upload it on Canva. So we have brand kits wherein if you sign up for the Canva Pro, you can create brand kits. So for example, yeah, so for example, we have the Stub Sparkin one. I created a brand kit for it, uploaded the logos, the brand colors, and you can also upload a font. So we can upload a copy of Source Sans, but it's already on the list. So maybe a font, the Arial font instead. So you can upload that one if it doesn't exist on the list. So this. So once you have the font, so for example, Arial isn't on the list, and you'd want to look for a very similar font When looking for an alternative font for your main font, for example, because it's not in the list of fonts in Canva, there are two things that you kind of want to know before, looking for an alternative font. So first thing is whether the main font is a sans serif or a serif font. So a serif font is when you have the letters, like you have lines stemming out of the tip of the letters. So like Times New Roman. And sans serif is when they don't have those lines stemming out of them. So as you can see, Arial font is a sans serif font. It doesn't have the extra lines. And so another thing you want to look at is the letter A. So there are A's that are like, how it's circle and then there's like a line stemming or like a line on the side. And then you have A's like this, wherein it's like a curve and um, the main body. And so for the Arial's one, it's this kind of A. And so when we look at the list of fonts back in Canva, we can look for fonts that, you know, have that kind of letter A and are sans serif. So we can kind of, ignore the scripty fonts or um, the serif fonts like this ones. Um, so yeah, it could take a bit long to look for the most similar font, but most likely, let's say you can start with Open Sans. It's quite similar to the Arial font. And so you just have to look for the closest one. At least you've already, filtered out because like you can ignore the non, the serif ones and the scripty fonts. Um, yeah, so as long as it's almost similar to, for example, I think Inter would be a good one as well. Um, as long as it looks kind of similar, then you can go for that font. Now, the thing is that you'd want to keep on using the same font for the next designs you make so that you're consistent across all your posts, and as long as it's quite similar, you will still be able to keep that consistency. Of course, your brand colors will help you. So for example, Stop Sparking, we can use the purple for the background, just so you know it can be on brand. So it's starting to look on brand now, just because you use the brand colors and the brand font. And then yeah, you can continue playing with it and adding more elements, which will be on the next tutorial. So see you.